We are in the second midah of the Tomer Devorah, the second midah of Micha. Mikel kamoicha noisei avain. So noisei avain, just to bekitzer what we've explained so far, is Hashem noisei avain means He carries our sin. I think the English translations like to say He bears our iniquity. So to bear is to carry, and iniquity is to sin. So He carries our sin. But it's much more meduyak than that. And I explained this, I just want to go over it again and explain what I heard from Rav Hutner, Zatzal, that when the Gemara says, Hu Yetzirah, Hu Hasatan, Hu Malach HaMavis, we think of them as three separate things. You know, there's the Yetzirah, which is somewhere in here, there's the Satan, which is somewhere who knows where, and then there's the Malach HaMavis who kills you. And Rav Hutner explained, I believe, Al Pi Ramchal, he explained that Hu Yetzirah, it's all really one sequence. It's sequential. So a person is confronted with a chet. Should I eat it? Should I not eat it? Should I kill the guy? Should I not kill the guy? Choose your chet. Whatever's your particular Yetzirah. A chet is, in a sense, an opportunity that you might never get back again in your life. So your Yetzirah is telling you, do it. That's when there's a Yetzirah, it's still outside of yourself. You're looking at the apple and saying, should I or shouldn't I? And so that's Yetzirah. And let's say you succumb to that Yetzirah, so you close your eyes and you eat it. You just do it because the pleasure, you don't want to be a friar, and the pleasure might not come back again. And I'll pay later. I'm willing to do tshuva. I'll take my chances on this thing. So when a person does that, what happens is, the way it was taught to me, is your Yetzirah, which is bachutz, becomes a satan, which is bifnim. So we think of a satan as being somewhere flying around in the Shemayim, or a devil of some sort with a pitchfork. Satan's in here. A satan is a definition of a satan is a destructive force. That's what the word means. No al yastineni. Satan is a destructive force. That's what it means. So now you've created a destructive force, which the Tomer Devorah here calls Harei lo yasa adam avain shel yivra mashchis. Where's this destroyer? Is it in the Shemayim? Is it here? So Hu Hasatan, you took it from the outside and you brought it to the inside. Now it's destroying me. Hu Malach HaMaves, and it becomes a cancer of sorts. So eventually it'll kill the person. If you don't do something, it will kill the person. Hu Yetzirah, Hu Hasatan, Hu Malach HaMaves. Notice that in general these things, and I'd like to speak about it more whenever we can, these things tend to work in triplicate, meaning we don't just say we sinned. We say chatasi, avisi, pashati. We don't say be moicholas, we say slach lanu, machal lanu, kaper lanu. There's a trifecta here of chatasi, avisi, pashati. Chatasi, avisi, pashati. It all, I believe that it all works. It's all very, very clear on the chart of how the whole thing lines up, and it's a limud. This is a limud. It's not a vart. It's a real limud as to how the whole thing works, and what we're doing when we say the al-chetz, and how the al-chetz are divided up into different categories. But what's interesting in the Tomer Devorah, lo yasa adam avain, noisei avain. We're specifically speaking about avain. So remember, chatasi, avisi, poshati. So avain is there in the middle. And it doesn't say, it could have said it, should have said it, would have been easier for us to understand if we say, if Micha Hanavi would have been Megalatas, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Noisei Chet, Noisei Pesha, Noisei Aveira, but it says that he's Noisei Avain. Also, the Moshe Rabbeinu, the Gilui to Moshe Rabbeinu of the Yud Gimel Midas Harachimim, Noisei Avain v'Fesha v'Chato v'Nakeh. So he carrying there, interesting, three things: Noisei Avain, v'Fesha v'Chato. No Seder at all. Right? Usually the Seder is Chatasi, Avisi, Pashati. Noisei Avain first. Noisei Avain v'Fesha v'Chato. It's not even backwards. Am I saying good? You with me? Yeah. But it's not even hafuch. It's completely mixed up. In the Midas of Moshe Rabbeinu, it's mixed up. Here, Micha Noisei Avain. So the Micha, Mikel Kamoicha Noisei Avain, Micha chose of the whole thing Noisei Avain v'Fesha v'Chato. He chose Avain. And in this Avain, he said HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Noisei Avain. Doesn't say he's Noisei Chet. Doesn't say he's Noisei Pesha. So it behooves us to understand a little bit. I'm not sure that we can understand. I can understand completely, but to understand a little bit, to have a mahalach in what is a Chet, what is an Avain, what is a Pesha, and how that works with the whole trifecta. If you skip, because we read this, if you skip a little bit, a few words in the Tomer Devorah, he brings us a sort of a real example. V'hainu, if you look towards the end of this midah, v'hainu she'amar Kayin. And now we understand what Kayin said. What Aveira did he do? Killed a guy, his brother, half the world's population. Or whatever. Hainu she'amar Kayin. So what did Kayin say? Hashem said to him, Ayeka, Gadol avoini minsai. Look at the words. Gadol avoini minsa. I can't carry, you see, I said at the beginning, I don't know what iniquity is. I don't know where that falls into the three. But in the reading of the pasuk, just looking at it this morning, I think it's in Bereshis, Daled. The pasuk goes like this: Vayomer Hashem el Kayin e Hevel achicha. So Hashem says to Kayin, "Where's your brother Hevel?" Vayomer lo yodati, and he says, "I don't know." Hashemer achi anochi. Famously, he says, "Am I my brother's keeper?" Vayomer, and Hashem says to Me'asisa, "What'd you do?" Kol demei achicha tzayikim alai min ha'adama. Hashem says, the voice of the blood of your brother, the voice of the blood of your brother, tzayakim elai min ha'adama, is screaming out to me from the Adama, from the earth. There's blood in the earth, and it's screaming to me. Va'ata, and Hashem says, Orata min ha'adama, you should be cursed from the Adama asher patzasa aspia lokachas es demei achicha miyadecha, because the earth opened up its mouth to absorb the blood of your brother. In other words, if I can say other words, that now the earth became part of the metzius of the earth is that it has the blood of your brother in it. You've changed the world. You've changed the earth. Yeah. Vayomer el Kayin, Vayomer Kayin el Hashem. And this is the pasuk that. Vayomer Kayin el Hashem. Kayin responds to this, and he says, "Gadol avoini minsai. My avoin is too big for me to bear. Gadol avoini minsai. And garash toisi hayoy me'al pnei ha'adamo mipanecha es aser va'yisi nav and nod ba'aretz v'haya kol moitzi yargeni." He says, I can't handle this. Okay, I will protect you. It's a strange, one of the first conversations in the whole Torah, and it's a strange conversation because the conversation is Hashem tells him, "What'd you do? You killed your brother. Well, pashut, you killed your brother. You've contaminated the entire earth." And Cain says, "Look, this is all way too much for me. Nebuch. It's way too much for me. I don't have a house now. I'm homeless. I'm running around. Everybody's going to hate me." So Hashem said, "Okay, I'll protect you." It's a strange conversation, but what I want to be medayik in right now is, why did Cain say Gadol avoini minsai? He had three choices, or really four. He could have said Gadol chatasi minsai. How am I supposed to carry this chet? He could have said Gadol shiasi minsai. Wow, I was posheya. Or, like the Netziv says right on the pasuk, logically, he should have said, Gadol Einshi Minasai. The Netziv says. He should have said, this is too bad. I can't, the Einish that I'm getting is way too much to bear. Like, I'm going to get Yisrei Eiv. How am I supposed to handle that? So handle it. Hashem says, okay, I'll take care of you. Shivasayim Yukam Kayim, you're going to live 7 generations, etc. Kol Hoyreg Kayin, anybody who kills you is going to be in trouble.
Could it be that the way you describe the Micha one is being Keter, and the Moshe Rabbeinu one is the lower level? So Moshe's pasuk is the Chet, Chalamasiya, lower level, and in the higher level, that's why Micha is bringing avoiding. It's a higher level of the process of sin.
Moshe Rabbeinu said, "Noisei Avain."
The end of Moshe's pasuk is the Chet.
Right.
And here it's Avon, it's a higher level. Basically,
On the Keser.
Describing the difference between the two psukim.
Here.
So what part of this was Cain's? Was any part of this Cain's?
We don't know that he did tshuva.
But doesn't it say when you ran into this leadership that he ran into
Much later.
Oh, that's much later.
Much later, yeah.
Right now he's being given a break.
He's being admonished. He's busted. Well, am I my brother's keeper? How am I supposed to know where he is? I don't know. There's only 2 of you here. How am I supposed to know? So Hashem ignores the silly statement, which seems to be the silly statement, and he says, listen, you've changed the whole earth. Kol dmei achicha tzoyakim mimcha min ha'adama. Response, Gadol avoni means so let's focus on the avoni, and maybe everything will be clear. So I want to share something with you. When we say, put Cain aside for 1 second, when we say chet, avain, fesha, I think the regular translation is the chet. What's your regular translation of chet? Shogeg. V'haraya, when you do a chet b'shogeg, you bring a carbon chatos. If you do a chet b'mezid, it's a different carbon. But so the pashat pshat is that chet is shogeg, avain is mezid, and what's pesha? A merida. So what's the difference between mezid? So you hear what he's saying? Educated answer. That chet is you did it b'shogeg. Avain is no. I did it deliberately. What? The avon, but it's b'mezid. Which one? Avon. And pesha is rebellion, lahachis. You're saying like 2 different types of maybe.
Posher is a criminal.
Huh?
Posher is a criminal. It has a connotation of, it's not just a one-shot deal. It's characteristic of the person.
But who pasha be? We just said before, I want to learn with you a gra. But before I do that, I just want to say this pasuk. Leisisna es achicha bilvavecha. Hoicheach toichiach es amisecha. V'loi sisa alav chet. So what's the case here? The Gemara, Leisisna es achicha bilvavecha, what's it talking about? You saw somebody do an avera. Rabbi Dvar Erva. Saw somebody doing avera, don't just be quiet. Don't harbor it, inside just to hate the guy, talk about it with him. You have an obligation of teichacha. You have to have teichacha. V'loi, and this is all part of the same pasuk. V'loi, but make sure, like sisa alav chet. So interesting, sisa, noisei avain. Like sisa alav chet. Rashi says, like sisa alav chet, that don't yell at him in public, because if you yell at him in public, then you're going to be doing a chet. What's a chet? Chet is b'shoigeg? What's like sisa alav chet? But whatever you want to, however you want to learn the pshat, why is it called a chet? Why is even that even part of the pasuk over here? Haichiach teichiach es hamisecha, v'loi sisa alav chet.
Just say alav chet means don't do a chet on him. What do the words mean?
What do the words mean? I'm agreeing with your question. Loi sisa means to carry. Loi sisa alav chet. So please keep everything in mind, because I can't. I'm not good with that. But I just want to show the Gra, and one of the least learned and most beautiful Shiurim that the Gra wrote is the Adaras Eliyahu. Adaras Eliyahu on Chumash. And he says as follows, I just want to learn this with you. Vayomer Kayin el Hashem, it's right on the pasuk, Gadol Avoni Minsai. Says the Gra, Im haya bir shel avon rak mezid. If avon means mezid, like Chaim said, so if avon means mezid, nira shaloi bedas diber. Not you. Then Kayin makes no sense. Gadol avoni means some my mezid. The Gra doesn't like it. If it means just mezid, what like? Kivin shechata b'mezid who gadol minsai. He did a chet b'mezid. So he says the following. Let's follow me carefully. If a nira, says the Gra, shot in chet and avain. The difference between chet and avain, and this is completely different than everything that we've ever learned. Says the Gemara. Rabbi says in Shabbos Daf Nun Hey Amud Aleph. Ein misa b'loy chet, ve'ein yisurim b'loy avain. Let's move carefully here. The Gemara says, Amar Avami, Ein misa b'loy chet. Nobody dies without sinning. Meaning, if you never sin, you'll never die. So the question is, Ein misa b'loy chet? You don't die from doing an aver b'shoigeg. Ve'ein yisurim b'loy avain. And if a person is suffering in this world, your suffering is not for naught, says the Gemara. Your suffering is because you did some kind of an avon. Now, what's worse, suffering or death? You don't have to answer that. But what pashtus, the pashup shot is that a person suffer. Yasor yisrani kavala mavis loinasanani. That's the pashup shot. The pashup shot is that the yisurim is the lesser onesh than misa. So he brings here, and a disclaimer: I'm not such a bucky in the Gra that I know what I'm saying here. But I don't remember the Gra doing this anywhere else. V'hiksha Marsha, because the Gra brought only primary sources. Marsha was a little bit before him, that he would bring the V'hiksha Marsha. The Marsha asks on this Gemara, Lama yavai al chet shehu shoigeg misa val avain shehu mezid la yavai rak yisurim. Says the Gra v'hiniach b'tzarachiyim, and the Marsha doesn't answer this question. It's an eyes in the kesha. Like, how could it be that you get misa for chet, which is shoigeg, and you get yisurim for avain, which is mezid? That's the Marsha's question. Says the Gra, this needs to be publicized. V'nira, ki kivan sha'avar adam ratzon boire yisbarach shmai yesh by chet v'yesh by avain. If a person goes against a mitzvah of Hashem, then there's involved here a chet and there's involved here an avain. Ma shechata mikavanasa yisbarach shmai nikra chet. Ma shegaram ra la'atzmai nikra ra avain. Underlinable. Chet, the word chet, anybody know what the word means? To what? Remiss? To miss. Right. So chet means like to stray. If something strays, something doesn't hit its target, it's a chet. Strayed. What does the word avoin mean? So ivesis darkai. It's a word I'm looking for, but
Twisted,
pervert.
Fear?
Huh?
Fear?
No, but that's chet. So he says as follows: when a person does a chet, hasn't got what to do with shoygeg mezid. It has to do with I've gone against your ratzon. Let's say a people thing. Let's say we have a relationship. Yitzchak and I, we have a relationship. Now I do a chet, b'shoygeg, b'mezid. Obviously, the mezid is more chomer than the shoygeg. But the point is, I've betrayed on some level, our relationship. If I've done something which is I've talked behind your back, so I've betrayed your relationship. Shogeg, there's different levels of shogeg, but sof kol sof, it's a betrayal. So near kivan she'avar adam ratzain boirei, as soon as you go against the ratzon of Hashem, yesh boi chet. Mashachat mikavanasa, you went against his kavana. It's a beautiful word because, in other words, Hashem created the world with a kavana. He created us with a kavana. Created Eretz Yisrael with a kavana. So there's a reason, there's what it's made for. A kivun. I'm just saying it as a mashal, but I once asked a huge Baal Tzedakah for some funds from his foundation. I'm talking about 25 years ago. And he said, I love to support you, but the money that's in the foundation, that's not what it's made for. It's not the kavanah. It's made for hospitals, it's made for this, not for, I can't go against the kavanah. So the bria, there's a kavanah. There's a kavanah in the bria, there's a kavanah. Right, a mandate. So when a person is choyte, whether it's b'shoigeg, whether it's b'mezid, you're not fulfilling that mandate, correct? So whether you eat the wrong thing, you say the wrong thing, you will destroy the Beis HaMikdash, whatever you're doing, you're not going with the kavanah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the first thing. Chata, you've missed your mark in that sense. Umashagoram ra la'atzmai. Now, another thing is happening at the same time, and he's gorem ra la'atzmai. He's causing damage within himself, nikra avain. So you see, it's a whole different idea. Chet is going against Hashem's ratzon, and avain is the repercussions, internal repercussions of what I did. That's called avain. He brings a lot of psukim to prove this. And he says, that's the pshat, what?
Physical harm he's done to himself, spiritual harm?
So I'll explain. So therefore, ein misa b'loi chet. This is the Gemara says. Ein misa b'loi chet. Meaning, theoretically, a person does not fulfill their purpose in this world, so what are you doing in this world? I remove you from your world, like you would have an employee who's b'shoigeg, b'mezid, whatever it is. I mean, you'll have more rachmanis b'shoigeg, but they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're violating, they're hurting the company. So you get rid of them. Maybe you should have rachamim. Okay, but the idea of firing somebody, in general, there is such a concept in this world of firing somebody. So it's because you're not, it's a chet, you were chayte. B'shoigeg, b'mezid, you're stupid, you're smart, you're vicious. That's not the point. The point is you went against the purpose. But then there's another thing. Ein misa b'loi chet, shechata neged Hashem yisbarach, ve'ein yisurim b'loi avain, sha'ava darkoi lahavi al atzma yisurim, sheheve darkoi lahavi al atzma yisurim. V'zeh shekasav kayin gadol hu, I'm going to try to explain it, but just let's finish the words, the beautiful words of the Gra. V'zeh shekasav kayin gadol hu avoini. Cain wasn't complaining to Hashem about the fact that he did a chet. I did a chet. I killed my brother. He wasn't asking here, this wasn't Shuvah Chaim. He wasn't asking here for Rachmanis, pardon my chet. I did a chet, but Gadol Avoini means the repercussions that are going on, that's too much for me to carry. Gadol Avoini Avoisesai HaYisurim Shehevesi Al Atzmi Kashem Min Soiv Lispel Oisam VaAnoichi Lo Yadati Kodem Shegalisa Li Oisam. Ha'avain hu ha'oinesh ta'ase bi v'loi b'banai v'noisai v'chein amar kain gadol ha'avoini hu ha'oinesh ve'eich esa ha'oinesh kazev gadol ha'avoini minsa, an oinesh that you bring upon yourself. So I'm understanding this as follows. I'm understanding that if, let's take our example, which is really not the example, Hashem is the example, we're the ikar in the story here. But let's say, well, let's talk about a person who has a Yetzer Hara and he eats treif. So the pashas, there's two things on a superficial level. There's two things going on here. Number one is I violated Hashem's ratzon. Not supposed to eat treif. You ate treif. I couldn't resist. I ate it. Another thing that's going on, again on I believe a superficial level, is timtum alev. Now I have treif inside of me. So I could regret it, I could do tshuva, I could klap, I could do all those things, but I have treif inside of me. Makes a difference in who you are. That's the pshat. Kol dmei achicha tzoyakim elai min ha'adama. You've changed the earth. This is not, you've changed the whole earth. This is a metzias. You could do tshuva, whatever it is, you've changed the whole earth. But on a deeper level, then I have some kind of a monster inside of me. On a deeper level, it gets back to what Rav Hutner said, and that is that when I do something which is a violation to my soul, to my neshama, so not only have I gone against the Ratzon Hashem, but there's another thing here going on. Now I have to live with it. In other words, my neshama, now I've created a contradiction in my neshama itself. My neshama wants one thing, and I've done something else. I made inside of me a whole milchama. So how do we, that's why I said this, what you have to know what's the mashal, what's the nimshal, but let's say somebody violated a friendship, somebody violated a spousal relationship, somebody violated another person. So there's two dinim here. One din is that, okay, I've gone against you're fired. Or I could do tshuva, let's say, whatever it is. But the other thing that's going on is now I have to live with that. How could I do that? How could I steal something from another person? How could I talk? It's a very, very deep stira within me that I have to live with. So the avon, says the Gra, is the part that I'm having to deal with and I'm having to live with. Am I being clear here?
That's part of tshuva. That's the regret. You don't know how you're going to deal with it.
Okay, you regret, but you're still not dealing with it. I mean, how do I deal with it?
It's like pangs of conscience, right?
You know, like what?
It's like pangs of conscience.
I don't know if it's subconscious or conscious, but let's say
Guilt.
Guilt is a good word. Yeah, like let's say you killed somebody and you regret it, and you've been rehabilitated, and but you still have inside of you, you killed somebody. So of course, but see this, you killed somebody. Worse than killing somebody, if you violated a relationship, it never goes away. Like that violation, somebody would have an affair. It never, So what do people? I'll go to therapy because I violated somebody else. So you go therapy, but the monster is there because I violated the relationship. What's gonna make me feel better? There's a lot of things I can do. I can go for alcohol. There's a lot of things that might numb the sensation of guilt. But the fact of the matter is, I'm living in a contradiction. I'm not saying everything this is pashut. I'm just saying that's what an avon is. That painful, that's what the Gra is describing here. That very, very painful onesh that Cain spoke about when he said, Gadol avonim insai, that's something you have to carry with you, minasai, and I can't bear this weight. And Hashem says, listen to this. Hashem says to him, I'll help you carry that weight. Because at the end of the day, you could have gotten 100 sabalim, guys that can carry refrigerators on their head. He could have gotten 100 therapists, but the only one that can help him carry this burden is HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself, because it was Hashem that he violated. So, Gadol avonim insai, and Hashem said to him, interestingly, I'll Shivasayim Yukam Kayin, I'll take care of you. I'll help you carry that avon. I think, by the way, Leisisnas achicha bilvavecha, Hoicheach toichiach es hamisecha, Leisisa lav chet. So it means to say the other person did a chet. You get a chet. Matzah by dvar erva. That's what the Gemara says. Person does a chet. You should give him teichacha. But sometimes we're so busy worrying about the other person's chet that in taking care of the other person's chet, we do a chet ourselves. Meaning a chet, according to the Gra, is the part of crossing the line of what the Ratzon Hashem is. So, like, let's say I make a hafgana, I make a hafgana. So in that hafgana, I was wronged. So I'm protesting. Community was wrong. I'm protesting. So what do? I take a hammer and I run around and I break windows wherever I go. Yeah. So now, what happened? 2 people did a chet. You did a chet by hurting me. I'm doing a chet by destroying things. So loisisa love chet, that there's a danger here of you're so worried that somebody else went against the kivun of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, zalo derech Hashem. And now I myself am going to take care of that problem. I myself am going keneged derech Hashem. We're not dealing in avon at all in that pasuk. It's all dealing with chet. Masha, what do you want to say, Matthew?
So that, in that context, where avon, if I understand correctly, is really the subsequent carrying of what I had done. So the chet is not a shoying amazing issue.
No, according to the Gra, nothing to do with shoying amazing. So, but our sugya today is the sugya not of chet, but the sugya of avon. And here, the avon lines up with the mashchis, with the sutton, internal sutton. And I saw here in this Tomer Devorah, he brings from the Ramak in a different place. The Ramak wrote a pirush on the Zohar called the Or Yakar. I don't have it, but he brings it here. He says, this is the Lashon of the Ramak. This is the Tomer Devorah is written by the Ramak, but this is the Ramak in his pirush Or Yakar on the Zohar. Ayidei Maisa Ha'avera Hu Boirei Mashchis. As we know, a person does an avera or creating a mashchis. It's a whole new thing. Not only have I violated the will of Hashem, have I violated the relationship, but I've created a mashchis. Va'amashchis hanivra me'amaisa ara, and the mashchis hu atzma nifra mimenu. And this mashchis is going to be the one that's demanding, that's causing the tsar from the avera. Listen to this is the sentence. Shloi bara HaKadosh Baruch Hu einshim klal. Hashem didn't come up with the idea of einshim. No need. There's not like this, punitive system, a knas. Shloi bara HaKadosh Baruch Hu einshim klal. Ella ha'adam atzmai hu oisei u'boirei es hara she'yishalem lo al ma'asav haroim. Hashem didn't have to create a bria called Einish because we do it all by ourselves. So what are we doing by ourselves? We're carrying the Avera that we did, the stira bein or lechoshech, which we've created within us, in a bein am lechavera, the stira in the relationship which we've created within the structure of our relationship, within a business partnership. If I put my hand on the till and I stole something, I've created something. Now, let me just finish the last 5 minutes with this point here. And we'll wish everyone a ksiva v'chasima toiva. Hu yetzer hara, hu hasan, hu malach hamavis. Basof, if somebody, a guy with a pyramid scheme decides to steal from everybody, yetzer hara. What happens is that who can live with themselves after stealing hundreds of millions of dollars from people? Who can live with themselves? So you become a tremendous a bearer of iniquity. You've created a mashchis within you. There's a few choices here. One choice is suicide. I believe it's common in this kind of a case. A worse option is what I like to call cognitive dissonance, where in order for me to live with myself, I make it okay. I rationalize it. But dissonance is worse than rationalization, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not a professional, but I'm understanding dissonance in a symphony orchestra. There's one guy who plays the first note, and that sets the exact note that everybody's going to play on. And if he's one off, the whole orchestra has to pass-through, has to work with him, and the whole thing is off. So little, maybe such a little bit that you can't put your finger on it unless you really have a good ear. This happens very often in the shul when people daven for the Amud. One drop off, and the whole olam is off. Dissonance. That's the word. The word is dissonance. Everything is off. So what the worse than suicide, which is a terrible option, there's an option of dissonance where I somehow I can't deal with a certain reality, so I change the reality in my own mind and my own heart, and I make it something that I can deal with. Yeah, it's not so bad. It's not, and I'm off. And now every single thing I say and every single thing that I do is krum. Another hard word to translate. Akum. My whole gestalt, my whole way of thinking becomes like crooked. Now, he's a crook. It's crooked. Crooked, not in the meisim, but until you become a hardened criminal. And a hardened criminal means I don't even feel like I've done something wrong. Nothing. I don't even feel like I've done something wrong. You talk about you read about the big mafia figures. Killed hundreds of people. The Chavetz Chaim says famously, he says that Misha asa avera, if you do an avera, you feel bad, you want to do tshuva. Nishna ba, you do the same avera twice. Nasa after, you'll figure out, the Gemara says, that why it's okay. That's the cognitive dissonance. The Chavetz Chaim famously says, what happens if you do it a third time? It becomes a mitzvah. Like, I'm doing good. So that's how crazy our brains are, that we can take something which is evil. I mean, but just look at the Holocaust. Look at human history. How something which is so obviously evil became a mitzvah to them in their minds. Crazy. There's a difference in whether Hashem's no seyavim. So what happens is, so Tachlis is like this, that Hashem, when he sees a person struggling and suffering, and eating themselves up with whatever chet that they did. So instead of just saying, this is what the Tomer Devorah says, instead of just saying, look, you created this mashchus, you have to deal with it. No, he says, look, the chet is the chet, and you're going to have to do tshuva, and you're going to have to go all through the whole sidrei tshuva, vidui and everything. But I'm not going to let the internal struggle eat you up, because if I let it eat you up, either you're going to do something suicidal, or worse, you're going to become completely krum, and then you'll never do tshuva. So Hashem in his chesed says, I will carry you, I will help you carry that burden which you yourself created, because I know that at the end you will do tshuva. And this is the difference between somebody with a certain kind of neshama and not a certain kind of neshama, meaning that there's a certain, it's more than patience here. It's, you've created a struggle, like he says, and like the Gra says, nobody has created this oynish but you. But nevertheless, the oynish is going to kill you. So I'm not going to let it kill you. I'm going to rather carry it with you. And Hashem says to Cain, I'll help you carry this for 7 generations. I'll help you carry it, because then maybe you'll do tshuva. Look, most of mankind came from Cain. We did tshuva. The tikkun can come, but it won't come if I let it go to you. So this is not a human thing. This is a Hashem thing, that he's able, even though you created the avon, the oynish, which is destroying yourself, I'm going to help you carry that avon. I'm noisei avon. Lidzi done. How does it work with us? If you draw the parallel, a person violates a relationship, you have to do tshuva in that relationship. That's ben am l'chaver. You have to ask mechila. These things are very, very deep. It's very, very deep. The mechila and tshuva besides. It's not good enough just to ask mechila. It's not good enough just to do tshuva. You have to tshuva, mechila. You violated a relationship. You have to straighten out that relationship. But that doesn't necessarily help the burden which I've created within me. Sometimes that's irreversible. And it's very painful to think that I did such a thing. Assuming one did tshuva, one recognizes the chet. And nobody should think that they have an obligation to just turn the other cheek and accept the person's bad maisa without him doing tshuva or her doing tshuva. Of course you have to do tshuva. Of course you have to apologize. You have to go through, it has to be very, very sincere. But it doesn't necessarily, tshuva itself doesn't really take care of the entire problem, because now what about the struggle that's going on inside of me? So what does Hashem do? Hashem says, I'll help you carry that burden. What are we supposed to do if we're supposed to emulate Hashem? That means to say we have to help carry the burden. It means somebody hurt us. And think of what this means. Somebody hurt us. They're suffering because they hurt us. Oh, I can't live with myself with what I did. Okay, so go see a therapist. What do you, don't come to me. I'm the last person you should come to. You hurt me enough that I'm letting you still live here or be here, or enough I'm saying good morning to you. I should help you carry your burden. So Hashem does. Hashem is no seyavon. Hashem helps a person carry the burden which he himself created, and that becomes, the Tomer Devorah says, a very deep obligation. It's hard to. I mean, when you start thinking about this, for real, it's a very difficult thing to do. But nobody said it's easy. It's a godly trait. The godly trait is not to forgive somebody who's wronged you without them truly doing tshuva, and that's not. We shouldn't mix that up. But we're talking about a different thing. We're talking about the avon. We're not talking about the chet. The avon is the internal struggle that they have created on themselves, and it's easy for me to say, "Eini zon mashchisim." This is your problem. Don't get me involved with it. There's no such thing, because the fact is, the only one who can help the person carry the burden is the person that was offended. There is nobody else.
Help by forgiving? What does that mean? What do you do?
So
Just make me feel better? Don't worry about it?
no, I don't think that's what it means at all.
So what does help? What does it mean to carry the burden?
You have a struggle. I think this is, again, when you get to it, slach lanu, machal lanu, kaper lanu, to help the other person, teach the other person how to create a situation where the struggle goes away, how to rehabilitate their behavior, how to do things, how to create a backdrop or a background that will never happen again. It's not about feeling better about yourself. It's about removing the stira between or l'chayshich, which is in the person's neshama right now. It's a hard. I mean, obviously, in 10 seconds, even if I had 10 hours, I don't think I'd be able to know exactly. But the thing to remember is that, you can say probably al pidin, the bayashocha, leave me alone. It's not something I have to deal with. I'm not interested in this in my life right now. I don't have room in my life. So you make room in your life, but the point is, no matter how many hundreds of other people that person can go to, you can go to a therapist, you can go through, go jogging, you can become an astronaut. Nothing is going to, you could drink alcohol. You could do so many things to try to dull the pain, but nobody really is actually going to be able to help with that so that the person can be truly shav l'darkoi, except for the person that was offended. Think about it. And that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu understood, Kiviyachol, this is my obligation to do. And this is a godly obligation. So you have to, to internalize such a thing it's an interesting thing. First of all, if we're hurting over something, we have to understand we have to go to that person for help and hope they're a tzaddik. That's going to help them. But to be a tzaddik, I doubt if there's anybody that hasn't been hurt by somebody. I mean, if you do, you're missing. If you are, you're missing one of the great, life's experiences. But so the shaila is that even from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, if a person is struggling because of something they did to you, which is often the case, so we need to get involved. We become the hatzalah here. In the sense of avon, not in the sense of chet. In the sense of avon. Sense of chet, they have to do tshuva. If they don't do tshuva, say psich nishtan, the whole thing doesn't begin. Ksiva v'chasima toiva, we should all be zoichet to be inscribed for good and happiness.